Okay, there we go. They can hear us. They can hear us. J-Pie warning. You've been warned.
God.
J-Pie.
He said, oh, God. Aye. What's up, everyone, to this week's episode of the Predcast. We're officially what number we say? Seven, right?
7.
Hey, man.
Lucky number 7.
Jelly, I'm with you, bro. I don't, yes, bro, I don't, hey, man. Hey. But it's crazy that it's already been 7 episodes. Like, we were just talking about this behind the scenes for everybody watching that, it, of course, wasn't there. It's wild that these games have already come out almost a month ago. It's wild that we're already several patches in, like Predecessor, for example. We just got a hero already within the first month. Other features like custom matches and such, and we're gonna go dive a little bit into detail here, controversies or whatever it may be, right? But we're gonna go ahead and introduce ourselves. If we could go in this specific order, if we could do Jelly, Medkit, Bearded, and then myself. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I've never felt like not going in that order so much in my life. But I am Jelly Knees. I'm happy to be here. I cover all these games For the Minions with Mangoose and the Viking Jedi. I stream on YouTube occasionally, stream on Twitch occasionally, all that good stuff.
He's a hater for order.
Most important title out there?
The best person in this chat in all of these games.
Okay. All right, fine. All right, that's not the title I was talking about. Talk about maybe something with UG in front of it, maybe.
I mean, hey, this is the Predcast. We try to talk about Predecessor mainly. We don't talk about
true.
Put yourself out there.
I'm
let
following the rules.
Know who you are.
You want me to follow different rules suddenly? You're going to change them on the 7th episode, man? You set up all this stuff for all these people for 7 weeks. And here we are. Changing.
What's your name again?
I do work on Ethereal as a developer. I am UG Jelly Knees. So that is the title that he is talking about.
Hey, man.
So I have a little insight in terms of like the dev side of things, not specifically for Predecessor or Paragon the Overprime, but I have a little bit of insight of like Unreal Engine and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, it gives you definitely a different perspective than most of us gamers that don't really have that far of insight into it. So that's why I wanted you to bring it up, because it definitely gives you a little more intelligence to it than some of us,
Fair. That's definitely a different perspective when it comes down to it. But Medkit?
Yo, what's up, everyone? Medkit here. I make Pred content. I live stream Pred every now and then. I currently hold the title of Best Tier List of 2022. And yeah, looking forward to episode 7 with you guys.
All right. And shout out to Odo real quick, watching us while he's walking home from work. He's also a fellow Michigander, so I know it's fucking cold. So stay warm, and I'm hoping our spicy content can help keep you warm. Thanks for hanging out, though.
Don't worry, I'll provide the heat. No problem.
Oh.
All right.
He's got to do it here because he can't jungle. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, these are fighting words, Windu.
Oh, we had to start it. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. What's going on, everybody? I'm the Bearded Wolverine, your Michigan Wonder. And I'm just excited, as you can tell already from the intro, that we're going to have a great show tonight. So can't wait.
Oh, that was a lot shorter than I thought.
That's what she said.
Whoa. Okay. What's up, everyone?
Jelly,
go ahead, Medkit. Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to ask.
Yeah, Jelly, I got a quick question. What role do you normally play? Which hero do you like the most, and which hero do you like the least?
Ooh, okay. I normally play jungle. Jungle and offlane are kind of my main 2 areas, but definitely jungle more so. Right now,
do you suck at aiming?
Do I suck at aiming? Yes, 100%. That's why I don't play carry. I play melee characters, so I don't have to aim. All I have to do is just walk up and hold the button down and just swing at people.
Hopefully I'm in range.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm still better than Windu, so that's fine. But right now, my favorite in Predecessor has to be Countess Jungle. It's so much fun. It's wild. And the least favorite? Oh, goodness. Feng Mao. And I love Feng Mao. I have a deep respect for Feng Mao, but
fair.
I don't like Feng Mao sometimes.
Okay.
Interesting.
I know. All right, let's keep Feng Mao on mind real quick, and then but Windu, do your intro, and then we'll get back to that real quick.
Yeah, I want to talk about that Feng Mao comment too. What's up, guys? I am Windu, also known as Windu the Mace. I do everything from mobile content, strategy content, a little bit of racing here and there. But for those of you that don't know, welcome again. This is the 7th episode of the Predcast. Those of you that have been here before, welcome back. This jelly guy, he's actually pretty cool. Anyway, so here's the thing. Let me ask you, do you not like Feng Mao? I'm just going to go right into this Feng Mao talk. Do you not like Feng Mao because of his lack of utility?
He's bad. I mean, he's not terrible.
Who's bad, Jelly or Feng Mao?
Yes.
I knew that was coming.
They're not bad to the point where it's unplayable. There's just better options. Why would you pick Feng Mao in the offlane when you can pick someone, literally anybody, and any other fighter better? Why would you pick him in the jungle when you have people like heroes like
literally
Rampage?
Any other jungler better?
Right. Feng is just a
so what
little
about it
right
it
now.
makes him bad?
Like scaling?
He's
maybe?
Well,
like what he's designed for?
He's not bad. He just needs some love. It's a numbers thing. Just tweak him a little bit, and
so his kit overall is good.
Same with Muriel.
It's not Feng Mao
and Narbash
directly. That's the problem. It's more of a balance thing and an itemization thing around Feng Mao. Right, the items heavily favor characters like Grux and Crunch significantly more so than they would favor someone like Feng Mao. And so he doesn't gain the same benefits in his kit by getting certain items that those two do. And so he just gets boxed around 9 times out of 10. He has to basically just sit and farm. He becomes a Sevarog without the stacking mechanic effectively, because he just has to sit and farm for the entire game in order to be something late game that's worth anything for his team.
The one thing I can say though about that is I understand what you guys are saying, but the one thing with this kit I like is the ability to, you're able to go out and farm, but then you can also get away. Like you don't have to sit on your tower and farm. You can at least farm in by the river, and then get away. Anybody else, you're out there trying to farm. Well, now you're locked down because you can't get away. So like his escapability is still
true
nice.
In the offlane, because even so, you have Grux,
true for
you have
me,
your dash,
but I'm also not that greatest. So,
but you have Grux, you have your dash. You have Crunch, you have your right click. Or Grux, Crunch.
Heal, you have the dash.
I wouldn't call Grux's dash a dash. It's like
it's still
the Superman punch.
It's like 5 cheeseburgers long.
I agree with you. It's beyond short, but it's still
we're all Americans.
He can't
dumb units.
He can double it though. Like if he really needs to, once he's late 6.
Yeah, Crunch has an escape 10 times over anybody else in the game right now. Even Countess with her Q can go in, use her abilities, and then Q back out to survive if you were playing her out in the off lane. And Feng Mao has his reaping dash as well. And it's just most of the time what I've been seeing in the off lane, especially with Feng Mao, is if I'm using my right click to get away, I'm not getting away still, because you have Grux dash and then Grux pull. You have Crunch double dash. You have Countess, who if she Qs at the right moment can just follow you through your dash. Right, like you've got a lot of these things that I won't say negate his dash, but they don't make it as beneficial as it was, say, in Paragon. Whereas he was one of the only offlaners with a dash for a very long time, and in Paragon it made him oppressive for it. And this is not that way.
Yeah, there is a lot of mobility.
Like his kit,
Predecessor.
Like, I don't have a problem with his kit. It's just the numbers.
It's just traditional.
Just tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's his normal kit. Am I wrong? Am I not wrong with that statement? Or
yeah, the shield, the AoE, and then the
shield is move speed.
Yep.
Yeah, the ult got the reset,
but fundamentally it's the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of all right. Yeah, and you also with one of the crests, you can get one of those crests. You can get a
the blink crest.
What's the blink? Yeah, but you can get a blink with his crest. So you got the blink with the crest, the R&B, and then obviously everybody has the normal flash that we have. Or what do we call it? Is it called? Is it called?
I think it's just called the blink right there.
Called the blink. Okay, so yeah, with your blink on your 4, right? So you have the blink on the floor 4. You got his R&B, and then you also have the crest. So you a little bit more elusiveness is if he needs to be, if it's needed. But yeah, I completely understand what you guys. I'm not a solo main or a solo jungler or solo laner by any means. But
ask yourself this: when was the last time you got slapped by a Feng Mao?
Mm-hmm. But granted, he's been disabled for
like you play
week,
carry,
so-
right? When was the last time a Feng Mao was? All
he
up
was
in your
also
face?
like Jelly said, he was also disabled.
Feng Mao needs an over. Needs a.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you though. When he was there, I was like, fuck that Grux, fuck that Crunch.
Yep.
Like I'd never went. It's like, oh no, a Feng Mao, like ever.
Mao isn't bad, but he's just the worst of the current options.
Yeah, I definitely felt like whenever I was jungling as Feng Mao, I definitely felt at a disadvantage. Like big time, especially like jungle clear and everything. I was like, bro, I literally gotta blink a camp just to do a little bit of extra damage because I literally have a shield that is so quite frankly. Like it's not like the shield has something crazy. I've seen
for the move speed.
I've seen and I've seen special iterations. Like maybe they could tweak him. Like I've seen some games throw like have shields that explode. If it's not destroyed within a certain time, whatever value is left as an AoE, I've seen games do that. Like, there's definitely little things that they might incorporate just to kind of tweak him again. They don't necessarily have to change everything.
I think something that would be super useful for him to help him have a little more survivability in lanes is give him a single CC immunity on his shield instead of the movement speed, or in addition to, where then he can take something like a Grux pull to the face and be okay. He can take a crunch knock up. He can do some of these things that these other laners can do against him more directly and not be immediately just screwed over for it. Because in the current, especially off lane, like boxing meta we have of it's just go in, start boxing, and whoever is the worst boxer just has to leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
He loses 9 times out of 10 because he just isn't a boxer.
Right.
His shield pops almost instantaneously. His E is his main damage utility, but it's so fast and relatively easy to dodge if you're playing against him. You just back up a little bit, and then once he uses it, he's on a 10-second cooldown. So if you give him the ability to box a little bit better, he can actually, I think, would make a huge difference in the offlane in terms of his playability compared to the other offlaners.
So you're saying just like, so no matter what, pop his E, and anytime that his E is up, he blocks one form of CC.
His Q, his shield, but yeah.
Q, yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, when he pops.
Yeah, so you're basically saying like Chimera's new active on his E.
Chimera's, it's all timing.
The CC immunity for like a 0.5 seconds. Like you really got to time it perfectly.
Yeah,
but
Chimera's is a bit too strong, but yes, effectively a similar thing.
Right.
Whereas if I see a Grux going to pull and I hit my Q, I now negate the pull. I'm not worried about that anymore. Right? That gives me my chance to take a fight on my terms instead of always having to fight on their terms.
Okay, but so now I'm asking because I'm wondering if this would be too strong. I want your guys' opinion on this. So like for the duration of his shield, anytime he has a shield up, let's say the shield lasts 5 seconds, right? And it might not last that long, but let's just say for time situation, 5 seconds. All right, within that 5 seconds, anytime he takes one form of CC, then it blocks that. But the next thing is CC, well, he can't negate that, right?
Correct.
With Chimera,
the
way I understand it, with Chimera, his thing, it's all about timing. If you see the Grux pull coming and you pop your shield, all right, you block that CC, you're good. All right.
Yeah, for that short time frame, you block all CC though.
Would that
it's kind of nutty,
or would you want it to be that full duration? You know, just almost like think of it like the Phoenix thing, right? You drop your Phoenix, hoping that within that time, if you die in that time, you come alive. Right? So you're gonna pop your shield early, thinking, all right, if I take CC with any of this time, I'm good to go. Or do you want it to be like that? Hey, I see CC coming. It's a skill, more of a skill for you to hit it on time.
It's still a timing thing, even if it. So I think it should last the full shield duration.
Full shield duration, okay.
But it still becomes a timing thing because it's as long as the shield is there. So if you press Q too early because you're expecting CC and the enemy team sees, oh, he used his shield, I just hold my CC, deal damage to pop your shield, and hit you with the CC for free. Mm-hmm. Right now, you still have to wait for them to cast it in order to really get the 100% effectiveness of that CC immunity from the shield.
Right. Okay. That's fine. I that's where I'm wondering, and that could be they could do that the full duration, right? And if they find out that the full duration, maybe he's a little too strong or whatever, then you could dial it down to a Chimera style CC, and that could be a part of the balancing situation. So I'm okay with it either way. I mean, now do you think
would you guys be okay with an assassin having jungle as well? CC immunity?
I would say that at this point, Chimera is an assassin and he has CC immunity.
He's a fighter. He's not an assassin.
I disagree with you.
He's saying the way he shows up
in the game.
So
he'd be labeled one thing and act as another.
So what about as far as the thinking what might be easier for the developers to do? What if they turned his shield into more of a spell shield that can block CC, but if you time it poorly, it'll just absorb an ability?
I'd be okay with that too. I think the main thing is he needs, like I said, he needs to be able to box a little bit better against his lane opponents, or against even in the jungle a little bit, but in off lane more specifically. He loses fights more often than not because he just doesn't have the same either damage or utility to negate the damage in these fights against Grux, Crunch, Steel. All of those characters can just easily box a Feng Mao out of the lane.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they, like Medkit was saying, like he's like with the intent to be an assassin more than anything, so he doesn't have the survivability that the average solo laner has. But people still play him like he does, you know? Like Kalari solo, it's doable, but if you're going up against a Grux, bro, you better be fucking careful. Like you better hope you hit level 6 and go gank mid, because that's not going to be an easy lane.
I think the question though becomes, why is he labeled an assassin?
Fair.
Because even other games have labeled Feng Mao an assassin in the past and then changed his tag because his kit is not an assassin's kit. Just because he can execute people that are low health does not make him an assassin.
Right.
I think that's where the confusing comes in.
I think that's also where they did wrong with him in Fault, right? Is they gave him assassin numbers, but they gave him a bruiser abilities, right? And it's like, well, so it's like, how do you kill?
He's either oppressive or whack
so quick, you know? Like he was definitely OP and Fault, and they had to rework him and some of that, and it still was not the greatest. But the
kit is not an assassin's kit. Like Kalari, for instance, right? She's very much I want to poke you until you get low and ult you, or I want to build items that I can very quickly get in there, blow you up, and get out of dodge.
Right.
And Feng Mao is not designed in that way.
Not at all.
So it's
Feng can't go in, burst, and then get out. At least not now. If they tweak him a little bit and make him stronger, that wouldn't allow him to get in.
But think about it.
The squishy up and then get out.
So think about it. He goes in. He best case scenario, he teleports in to do a little bit of extra damage. He does his AOE, his hamstring, for the damage and the slow. And now you're stuck left clicking for damage until they're low enough for you to do your ult.
Which is not an assassin.
Yeah, like if you have to sit there and smack them 2 or 3 times, he almost loses the purpose of an assassin. At that point, you are fighting. So I do understand that sentiment. He needs to be a little bit more bursty if he's going to be assassin.
If you want him to truly fill an assassin role, 100%. I don't think assassin Feng Mao is
a little bursty though.
But in the same way that everyone's bursty weak right now, the time to kill being so short is making everybody bursty. But in comparison to actual assassins, Countess or Kalari, he doesn't hold up to their burst in any way, shape, or form. In their level to burst. The brawlers, he doesn't hold up to their brawl potential in any way, shape, or form. He
needs some love.
Yeah,
he's a tweener.
Lost in where
he's tweener
to be in the game.
It
feels terrible. And I love Feng Mao to death. He was one of my most played characters in Paragon behind Kalari, right? And so this is a character I care about deeply, but he's just not there in the current iteration.
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a buff next patch.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, since we're on the topics of assassin, and since we got Jelly here, this is a kind of a big conversation that I've been seeing, at least in the Facebook predecessor area. Kalari. A lot of people are saying Kalari needs a nerf because of how she is and how she can be. What are your guys' thoughts on that? I see Medkit instantly going shaking and said no. Jelly's kind of like, I don't know what to say. And Windu's thinking of if he's ever played Kalari.
People want to nerf Kalari because they don't know how to deal with her.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. She's a pub stomper.
Kalari's a pub stomper. And when you're in pubs, and when all you have is pubs, right? It's really easy for Kalari to always look oppressive. But if you put Kalari behind even a little bit, she's going to struggle the rest of the game.
Bro, honestly, a little bit of CC and she's done.
Chimera,
she has
Kalari's alive.
Yeah, she's got no sustainability.
Invade like crazy.
No, I'm not a jungler by any means, but I've been trying to play jungle. Anytime I go in, like I stream Tuesday with Thursday last. First couple of games played jungle, then went back to ADC or whatever. And the next game, then Thursday, first couple of games played jungle. And I played until like, okay, I have to get myself back, fix and actually get myself in the win column. But I played one game. I think I was Grux jungle, and I had a Clary that was literally just being aggressive to me. Like there was something I couldn't do anything. Like I was like literally every time I showed up to my red buff, she was sitting there waiting for me to get low enough to her throw a dagger on it. And it's like what? And then like I'm sitting there, all right, well let me fight her instead. And so I'm sitting there, I'm doing a bunch of things I'm trying to do. I didn't even have time because she got me so far behind that I couldn't even counter jungle. And I was like trying to gank. I was still trying to get my jungle. I was trying to level up. There was so much that I was trying to do. And then just because she had the invisibility, and it's like I was working with Huddy and we were trying to get wards up earlier that we still, even putting wards up, she was still pretty strong. And I just like, we ended up winning the match anyways, but like that was a fight. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is annoying as all could be.
Yeah, Kalari is one of the sucks you have to go through that. I'm noticing a lot of level 1 and level 2 cheese invades lately. And what I did was I went into the practice map to kind of like see like how can I still get level 3 but secure both red and blue in time so they don't do any of that cheese. So I found out that if you go red then 2 then blue, or the other way around, or blue then 4 then red, as long as you get both red and blue and either 2 or 4, because those camps give you more XP and less gold, the outer camps give you more gold, less XP. If you go that route, you won't reach level 3. It'll be like this little more. But Bearded, it sucks you went through that. It is frustrating. You kind of need your teammates to rotate fast enough, and it can get tilting, especially if like you as a jungler, right? That's very discouraging. If their jungle gets that cheese off, kills you, takes your jungle, and no one rotates it sucks. You're mega behind, and at that point, like I'm noticing a lot of these cheese level 1 and level 2 invades. It sucks, but you really gotta like.
Well, be honest,
it's
on rotations from mid, duo, off lane, whoever. It's just luck. I mean,
I'll tell you what though, it's almost become the norm. Because what I do is red buff, go for a level 2 gank on whatever outside lane that is, and then immediately go into their blue to steal their blue.
That's what I do all the time too.
Like it's almost like a necessity, because if you're not doing that, there's a good chance their enemy jungler is in your blue right now. Be like, hey, this is my side of the jungle. He's got that side. That's basically the way this is gonna work.
If both junglers were to do the same thing, they get their reds and then go for the blue.
The enemy
invades,
blue.
Guess which jungler wins? The one that gets the most help. The one that gets
fair.
The rotation faster.
A good rotation can fuck up an invade, and then now you're behind. Legit.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is assassins are always the characters that snowball very hard, right?
Yeah.
Just by nature. So when a Kalari or a Countess gets ahead right now, they can take over games by themselves, partly because time to kill is very low, and partly because that's just that's their class of character. They're assassins. That's their job. Get ahead, keep getting more ahead, and then help my team get ahead by association.
Yeah, 5-0 assassin is disgusting. By all means.
Absolutely. No, there have been plenty of games that I've had on both Kalari and Countess that once I get those first couple kills, I basically have immunity around the map because I can walk anywhere, and as long as the whole team doesn't rotate onto me, I can either escape or I can get a kill on whoever shows up on me one by one, and it's not a problem at all. And there's a handful of fixes to change that, right? You can nerf the characters, but I don't think it's the character's fault by any means. I think it's rotation by your team that's important. It's denial via vision, right? Like Kalari, if you have vision on the enemy jungler, you make decisions around where they are. Great. Yep. They invaded my blue side and Fangtooth is on my red side. So great. We see Kalari on our blue. Everybody go to Fangtooth, right? She's nowhere near there. Why are we not going to take the objective that she can't help with? Right. Like you have to get advantages other places instead of always trying to box around that Kalari that's already running away with the game.
Yeah, that's why that first minute is a vision game pretty much. Everyone drop your wards, put smart placements, and I guarantee you,
Take out the
like
strays.
the first minute or so, first 2 minutes of the game will be a lot better. That's 5 wards versus just 1. If you think about it, just use it. No need to like hoard it. Because if you get info on their jungler, then let's say you're Dusk side and your mid laner put a ward by the 2 camp on the enemy's jungle, right? And they show up, dual lane, it feels more safe, right? Because like, their jungler's over there. We can
be more aggressive, etc.
Exactly. Just little things like that.
Now,
with that being said, I don't think Kalari needs a nerf. I think people just need to figure out ways to deal with her better.
Now, going off of what Jelly was saying with Countess and Kalari, I can say that I have not had a Countess, even when she first came out and how like she was a little overtuned. I haven't had a Countess that I felt that was so oppressive that I've had more Kalaris that are just like, these guys, like, it doesn't matter if we fed them or not. Like, obviously feeding them is obviously not what you want to do, right? But like, even if we didn't feed them, they're just like, they're there. Like it just, her kit, everything with her kit just is, it's so hard to deal with. One, the invisibility, it turns into camouflage in a certain range. I get that. I love that aspect of it because at least gives you something where you don't always need a ward technically, right? But the ability to get away, her escapability or whatever, everything's more. She's definitely, if we're talking about how Feng Mao compared to any solo laner, talking about Feng Mao compared to any jungler, Countess compared to Kalari, in my opinion, when it comes to assassins, Kalari is the better assassin.
I disagree entirely.
Bro, okay.
I think
so. You think Countess is so busted in the jungle? I haven't played her jungle yet. I've only done Countess mid. And
so
she's disgusting.
In my opinion, she sucks in the jungle.
Bro, she's disgusting mid, bro.
So disagree. It's wild. I think she's an assassin in the jungle, right? So if you know how to shut down assassins, you can do well against Countess jungle. But in pub games, just like Kalari, Countess jungle is a pub stomper because she shows up out of nowhere, deals a ton of damage. Then
she doesn't show up out of nowhere.
She does because she just queues onto people.
You literally see her, like she's like right there. All right, there she is.
Then that's a bad jungle.
I can see.
That's a bad jungle. If they walk towards you and you're looking at them, bad jungle.
Why are you walking right to their face? No, walk up behind them.
Hey, careful. I did that one time. I got yelled at by Bearded.
PSA: stop using your movement abilities to get into lane. Please God, junglers. Please God.
Yes,
stop using your movement abilities to get into lane.
That's a very clear indicator of skill level whenever that shit happens, bro. Like, I feel so bad for some people, bro.
I'm on Chimera and hit right click as I go into lane. I'm like, I'm terrible. I'm leaving now. Sorry. I have bad gank on my part, man. I'm out.
He's like, I just woke up. Leave me alone. Like, I will say though, and again, this is my little disclaimer. I literally haven't played Predecessor in the last week. I haven't played any video games in the last week. I'm literally on withdrawals for everybody watching. But I gotta say, even on this whole conversation of assassins, in all the games, all the hours that I've put into Predecessor, even when Countess got released, even Kalari throughout, I really haven't felt like anybody has been crazy oppressive. Sure, has somebody gotten ahead? Are they hard to manage, etc.? But I've still been able to handle every individual scenario. I'd be like, yo, guys, hey, we just got to hit this bitch with all the CC that we got, and let's just make sure that we kill them. But manageable, right? Mm-hmm. Like, because that's what a lot of people forget. Like, assassins, they can run away with the game, but the moment that you land a CC chain, it's like, well, guess we just got a bounty.
Yep.
Like, it's 100%. It's doable. But I think the point that Bearded was going through is specifically like, Facebook groups and, Twitter and etc. The majority of the player base is more than likely going to always be on the newer learning stage, right? Mm-hmm. And even as those become experienced, more people join and whatnot, should there be characters that are that oppressive and can pub stomp that hard, even if there was like ranked versus casual and etc. Because I know plenty of people that would just grab a Kalari, play on casual all day because that's what they love and they just want a pub stomp. So should that sort of level of assassin exist this early in the stage? I guess would be a better question.
I think that's the unanswerable question necessarily, right? Is it's you're taking away agency from the characters that are designed well and from higher levels of play. Right? Can Kallari be played in full 5v5s? Absolutely, but she's definitely going to struggle more in comparison to a pub game where it's a little more random. So it's by nerfing that and making it that she's manageable in a pub game, that means she's unplayable in a higher level game.
Fair.
Because then she's just the worst option available. She becomes Feng Mao very quickly. And so I think that there are ways that can provide more help for people struggling against Kallari. I think vision is a big thing I've seen a lot of people talking about, of how vision feels back and forth. And that if you help players facilitate and understand how to use vision more effectively, you are automatically countering someone like Kallari, right? That it's a 1-2 thing. Without having to actually nerf the character, you can make something more accessible or more easy for players to grasp and understand. And that will nerf the character accordingly. And so she can still punish people that aren't paying attention or aren't doing the right things, but is still also consumable for the wider player base, even though if you're playing by yourself with 4 randoms.
Yeah, I do think that if we make for our awards a wider area, we can see a wider area, that would definitely put a nerf on Kallari for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What about that? There was a feedback that I saw on a YouTube comment. Somebody actually suggested that when Paragon tried to reinvent the wheel with their mobile map, and they basically created the always fog of war, but it doesn't look like there's fog of war sort of scenario. That's a thing that these games have adopted, but the person in the YouTube comments was saying is like they should get rid of that. That map should literally be fogged up, and you can only see the circles where a player is or where a ward is. Like it'll actually just change up like bright, a little bit more vibrant colors and etc. Just to kind of show to the players is like, hey, that's what you can see if you want to see more ward, as opposed to if you look at the minimap now, you don't necessarily, like a new player might not necessarily have the inclination to put a ward down because they don't immediately think they can't see.
I think that would definitely promote warding more. I think people who don't ward would,
like a little visual trick.
They would visually see like, okay, I can't see anything over there. Let me put a ward there. It'll improve warding for sure if that'll happen. I don't know how it'll do.
Because essentially you still get the same result. It's just a visual trick, like visual trickery that you're doing to the mini map to get people to maybe ward more, be more conscientious about it.
I think if you showed that on the mini map, that would be one of those things, like I was saying, of improving accessibility and understanding of vision, where that's a very clear, I can see this area, I cannot see this area. And it teaches players, yes, okay, I need to be able to see that area, or I want to be able to see that area, and incentivizes it a little bit more without actually changing mechanics or cost or anything like that.
I just don't know how it would work. Okay, so we know a ward does X amount AoE, right? It's whatever the size of it is, right? It does that AoE, right? And that's when you put a ward in, you're going to be able to see that AoE on the mini map. But now if your jungler is in there and your jungler has a line of sight on a distant hero,
you're literally going to see like a walking ward on your mini map as the jungler walking around.
Mm-hmm.
But is
Age of Empire status?
That AoE is going to be bigger then in that situation, because like I think there's going to be certain things that you're going to be able to see at certain times, spots. Only certain spots you'll be able to see. Like, hey, if I'm standing right here, I can see all the way to mid lane.
So yes, but even the way it currently works, even if I can see all the way from, I don't know, let's say I'm in Raptor and I see somebody at the top of their stairs, right? Even though I can see them, they won't show up on the mini map if they're not within range. I don't know if you ever knew that. So
I haven't paid that much close attention. Is that not how that works now?
So
if I see them, if I can visually see them, do they not pop up on the mini map at that time?
They do not.
Nope. So they can be at their T1 tower. I'm at my T1 tower. They don't show up on the mini map. Currently, they have to get pinged or something.
Distance.
It's a radius. So if they literally implement that same radius effect Age of Empire status to the mini map, I think that would be one of those quality of life things that, maybe it's not even noticeable to a lot of people, but it just makes sense. Like I can see that, I can't see that. That makes sense. That part's grayed out. Okay. Mm-hmm. While and it's already designed that way because you can't it's not like the minimap is always unlocked. You can't always see everything. So it's already designed in that way. It's just not color coded differently.
You just have to add the kind of dark layer over
the filter,
the minimap. Yeah, that then opens or reveals or gets clear when you have vision of an area. Yeah.
And I like what you just sent me, Jelly. I sent it to you. I sent it to the Predcast thing. If you want to pull that up, Windu. What game is this from? Can you tell me?
That's League of Legends.
That's League of Legends.
League of Legends.
Yeah, and it's just an idea, and I like how what this is showing is when you have a wall, you get up to a wall, it obviously cuts that off, but it's able to your AOE is still going to expand through that doorway or whatever, that little entryway. So it even goes through that. So like it. Even though you have a wall there, it's going to be like, all right, you can't see through the wall, but you can see this entryway. So I like how that shows that there. So I'm okay with that for sure.
But even that right there, because right now we just see a ward icon. That's it. Mm-hmm. And then when something happens near it, you're bing. But if you were to look at the minimap and see that, even subconsciously, you're like, shit, I got a ward over here. Or you know what? Fuck, somebody can come from that angle. That's a very busy intersection. Let me put a ward over there. So I don't know. I honestly think it might be something. Again, I don't know the development side, but I think it's something so simple that I just wonder why hasn't it been done. And I really do want them to do it because I think it's a quality of life that could probably be easy to do.
It's something that I remember seeing when I used to play Warcraft 3. It's something you'd have like if you undiscovered land, it'd be completely black. But once you walked in and you discovered it, and then you walked away, it became this like dark shadow. You could almost
Age of Empires status. Yeah,
transparent.
Exactly that concept. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I'm all about that. I again, because I think it just promotes warding more, right? To the people who don't know that hey, put a ward down or whatever, then it also helps promote warding for the person like Huddy. Right? We all have a guy like Huddy or Jay Swiftblade that'll sit there and just tell you to ward. Hey, put wards up, right? They can look at the mini map and see that's dark. Hey guys, we need wards up. All right, let's turn the lights on. And bring and put wards up so you can see the map and go from there. So yeah, no, I think it's great.
Now, let's do. I just want to kind of hit this Countess balance. How do you guys feel that they approach Countess her balancing from so many different angles? You guys think that's wise?
I like that they reduce the amount of healing she gets overall. I like that they didn't really touch her damage. She needs to hit hard. The problem was she was healing a little too much to the point where she was like skirmishing a little too long for an assassin. So I like what they did. They also buffed Blight. And there's 5 Blight items. So, and I have been noticing a lot more people build, Tainted Totem, Tainted Guard. I've even seen more and more mages build Tainted Scepter. All the taints. Taint that bitch.
Yeah, no, and for those who don't know, Grux, Chimera, Countess, Narbash,
Rampage.
Rampage, all the healers.
Severog,
if you build
Crunch.
Any of the tainted ones, they're all the tainted items. They're one for each role, pretty much. Or you can even use multiple per role, depending. I don't know how benefit that is. Can you actually put, like, say you put a tainted guard and a tainted round on an ADC? Would that actually benefit you any?
Probably not an ADC, but you could probably do a
unique passive.
Is it?
Okay, I think so.
I'd have to read them up again. But either way,
I see what you mean.
Yeah,
I don't know off the top of my head myself.
I just said I just know that some of them, like, you can have, like, hey, maybe I'm playing more of a brawler instead of a tank or whatever, so you want to have the damage one, but I also want to have the tank one too. I don't know if they both benefit in that sense.
Or what if your support has tainted totem and you, the ADC, have tainted rounds and you hit a rampage? What happens? How
that works? How
much blight does he get?
That I don't know, but that definitely does work.
To answer your question though, Bearded, you can run both of those because they are still different scenarios. I don't know if they stack on each other, but for example, imagine to the point that you're running the the blight armor and blight physical damage, right? A carry will purposely not hit. Yeah, carry will purposely not hit that chimera because they know that he has the blight armor. You know what I'm saying? Like good carry will be like, hey, I'm hitting him last just because I know. But if you also have tainted rounds, for example, you can apply the blight yourself, or you can apply it defensively also. So you still could get the benefit in different scenarios, depending on who you're targeting or who's targeting you. I just don't know if they stack. So it might be very situational until we confirm.
Yeah. As far as Countess, the one thing about this, the balance notes here that I want to say is I love their little write up here, you know, and it's like, because they point out like it's them saying that we're taking this from your feedback, right? Obviously, they're taking it from data points as well, right? But like following player feedback. You know, like this little write-up they have with it is, and the amount of times they've used the word feedback in everything they do, it just shows that they want the feedback. So we as a community have the ability to go out there and let them know this is where we feel, this is how we going on, this is our feedback, and they'll take it, read it, and go from there. So I love that. And I love how they even put like when we had with Fault, right? We don't know who wrote the notes, right? We found out later that. Well, for a while there, Ryan Red wrote the notes, and then also Arma wrote the notes, right? But we didn't say that, right? But this little feedback note comes from Import JG. You know, when we've had one before that came from somebody else. I can't remember exactly who it was, but it's like little different developers will come in and will say, "Hey, this is what we got going on. This is our information we got." So I like seeing the other developers coming in here and being, you know, showing to be a part of the crew as well. When it comes to the balances with Countess, I'm okay with it. I do think it was the healing that was really the big thing with her, that she was getting with a lot of her kit. So they reduced it. So let's see where she goes from there. I've always been a fan of let's make subtle changes to balancing and find that perfect point and work our way to it instead of making drastic changes and then having to bring it back. You know, like basically let's nerf her to the ground where nobody wants to use her. Now we got to buff her back up. And, you know, so I'm all about that. These subtle changes for sure.
Yeah, I think they hit her in where the places should need to be hit and didn't go too far with it. I think I've played a couple games on Countess Jungle since these changes have been made.
You felt the difference?
I felt the difference, but not in a way that I felt useless now, right? Just in a way of like, you know what? Yeah, I have to be a little more conscientious of my health or my abilities because I can't just go in and just 1, 2, 3, 4 murder people because I'm just healing all of it back. I mean, especially on the big thing there, the magical power % health damage scaling has been reduced on our ultimate. That needed a nerf, and I'm glad that it did, because there have been games that I look at the damage numbers on there, and it says I'm going to do 60% max health damage in my ultimate. It's like, oh, great. So I cast one ability in ult and they die. Like, it's just that easy. And when you have something like Astral Catalyst on as an item already, then that just means you're going to be having a grand old time as Countess Jungle when you're hitting that 60% max health R, right? Like,
I love that item.
So that was the biggest nerf to me that I saw. That I was like, good. Like, that was the one, even though I loved it because I've been playing her and using it, that was the one that 100% needed to happen.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I haven't tried her since this. Like I was saying, I haven't played in a bit, but when I saw these notes, I just thought that it was a little sporadic. It's like, well, let's take like 1% from here. Let's do this. Let's do that. Like, very fine tuning, but in just so many different ways that I was like, all right, they know what they're doing. Let's see how it fucking feels, I guess. But I'm not mad at it. I'm honestly glad that they're implementing bug fixes and that they're implementing hot patches, even if it is subtle. I'd rather see something subtle than nothing at all. And then just wait an entire fucking month worth of data and be like, well, let's hope people are still around after a month of getting shit on, you know? So,
right.
I dig it.
Well, speaking of getting shit on, that leads right into our next topic, and that is the chat and how they, the one patch, 2.0 patch, they made chat being default turned off, right? So if you wanted chat on, in-game chat on, you have to go into the settings and you have to turn it on yourself. So what are you guys' thoughts on that specifically?
I don't like it.
I forgot about it.
Why don't you like it, Betkin?
Because I don't know if it's a way to see. I don't know what the real reason is, but it's even if, let's say, people are new, they still have to somewhat communicate. Like, I don't know, like, hey, what crest should I get? Or I need a ward on my blue camp. Or good luck, have fun. Let's say you're in the middle of a match and everyone, like 4 people can chat. The guy that doesn't know about it, that has it off on default, the 4, they're like, hey, let's make sure we get this next Fangtooth, guys. Let's like have macro in mind. Like, okay, now's the time to buy your items. Now's your time to not waste your ultimate or your blink or your crest. The one that has it turned off has no idea what's going on. So that's why I don't like it. Communication is important in MOBAs.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it being defaulted off in the current state of communication in the game is a bad thing. I think if your ping system was more accessible and 2, more fleshed out in terms of what the things you can say and do with it are, then having chat turned off is not as detrimental. But people are so, new players especially, look at that ping wheel and go like, nope, that's too much. I don't know how to do left, right, left, up, down, left to say that my jungler's missing, right? Like, or their jungler's missing. And with that, it makes communication just completely off when you turn the chat off, right? I had a game where I had a Sparrow I was supporting. I had a Sparrow on my team and I was kind of trying to, clearly a very new player, trying to understand what she was doing, trying to give her tips and trying to help her out a little bit of what to build, where to go, how to do these things. And 30 minutes into the game,
Kelly's over here talking to a wall.
Effectively.
Because she has the thing off.
Yeah. And finally, 30 minutes into the game, she types a message and says, oh, I just realized my chat was turned off. And it's like, well, all of that went out the window now. Like, yeah, all of these things. And to me, that's frustrating because I'm sitting there like, I'm trying to help you. Why aren't you
trying to teach? Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That is frustrating.
Right? Can't do that at all because the chat's just defaulted to off. And to me, it's a band-aid fix for toxicity. You're saying that we know toxicity is a problem, and instead of doing something about the toxic people, we're going to make new players suffer more because of it. And that to me is a bad thing.
See, now I disagree. I somewhat disagree. I mean, I somewhat, not fully, but I somewhat disagree. I agree that it's a Band-Aid, right? But as of right now, that's all we can do is a Band-Aid in any of these situations. And I came from the Fault community, and I've seen how toxic this community can be. Even though you have the ability to go mute it, you have the ability to hit the tab button and mute it from the scoreboard, and you guys don't have to listen to that toxic person. Nobody does it.
They're probably going to leave the game before they hit the mute button.
By people being toxic, right? Nobody does it. So I would rather them have it default off, let you go play the game. And if you want to play the game and not worry about people messaging you, even though they might be helping you, the problem is everything that Medkit and Jelly Knees, you guys both just said, we're the minority. We are the minority of people who want to go actually and help people learn the game. That's the sad part about it. There's a majority of the people who just want to be toxic and don't care what other people think and want the game to, they don't care if the game grows. They want to be toxic and just destroy anybody who they think is below them. And that's the problem. So yes, I do agree that it's a Band-Aid, and I do agree that there's something that more needs to be done to the toxic people. But until then, we also want to keep the new people that are coming out here to try this game, and we want them to have fun. And they can have more fun if they're not being destroyed by people who just want to be toxic just because this person's not as good as ADC as their last match they had. Like, that's just bullshit. So I'm okay with them not having any text and letting them play the game and see if they enjoy the core game themselves, right? There's good people who just aren't going to like this game. They're going to leave. The people who like the core game, they're going to be the ones to find out that I can turn chat on and I can learn later on. But let's play the game, enjoy the game as is without having all of the questions and everything, all the toxicity that you go with it, because the problem is we're the minority. Now, if we were the majority, I'd be 100% on your guys' side, but I know for sure we're on the minority side of that. I think though
you need to I think Ometa needs to be more transparent of what steps are being taken against toxicity, right? One, I'm not saying take a specific player and put them up and be like, this is the example, right? Don't be this guy.
Like Rainbow Six Siege does. Global chat, this person's been banned. Like, cool. I
mean,
I know that guy.
Aspect that works, right? But I don't mean like a public display so much.
Actually,
of like
you're really
chat. Like, this is what's going on. But say something along the lines of like, chat mutes exist. right? If this person's been toxic so many times and people report them for their toxicity, they can no longer type in chat for whatever it is, 10 games, 30 games, 5 million years. I don't care, right? But we don't have information of the steps being taken for toxicity. So there's an aspect that this feels worse because of that. Because we assume they're doing something 100%, that there's the assumption that, especially with the report system being in the game now, that they're able to look at this and say, this person's been reported 32 times, ban that person. But do we have the ability to chat mute people? Do we have the ability to do other things before a full-fledged ban, but that can still improve the game for a new player that isn't getting flamed now by the toxic person, but still allows the toxic person to play the game and maybe learn that you don't need to be toxic, or learn a lesson because they didn't get full banned for the game, but they got chat banned instead, right? Like, I feel like there's intermediary steps that can be taken that aren't band-aid fixes, that solve that problem in a way that allows for new players to still be learning the game early on. And yeah, you're occasionally going to run into somebody that's toxic. That's inevitable, right?
But I think
chat turning off is the only fix to that problem.
I think toxicity in gaming, though, and this is the sad thing to say, like, I don't think there is a fix. I think everything towards toxic gaming is a band-aid fix. I think a chat ban is a band-aid fix to toxicity, because he's chat banned for however long, let's say 24 hours. Well, guess what? After 24 hours, guess where he's going to be? There's no. Even IP bans is a band-aid fix. Like it's like, because then they're gonna find a way around it eventually. They're like, there is no perfect thing for toxicity, and that's the sad part about it. Like I would love to be able to get toxicity, just get rid of it. Doesn't exist. I would be all about it, right? I mean, that me and Windu wouldn't be able to play together anymore, but I mean, it's fine.
What?
What?
I agree with you that there is no fix for toxicity, but you can do things. Like I said, you can make it more clear of what the repercussions are for your actions. That it won't dissuade everybody, but it will dissuade some, and that's a benefit, right? You need net positive changes, and being more transparent about what the ban systems look like, or what ban systems are even available, becomes net positive, right? Because then you get people that when they're typing in chat and they're raging, they may take a breath and be like, you know what? I don't want to get banned, right? So let me back off for a second. Or I don't want to get chat banned. Or when they get chat banned, go, you know what? Yeah, I went too hard on that guy. My bad. Right? Like there's I agree, nothing's a perfect fix. All of it's technically a band-aid fix. But I feel like turning off chat by default was a really large step. That there are other things that could have been done first.
Is there any indicator in the game that your chat is turned off besides when you go to type and it says it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you first load in
the bottom left corner that says your chat is turned off. If you want to turn this on, go into the settings.
I don't even. My chat's turned off. I'm assuming. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe it's not.
Bro, I didn't even realize it until I was playing with Huddy, bro. Like literally, it's like, oh look, this person knows Huddy, and I'm like, what person? They just said something in the chat. They said, hi, Huddy. And I'm like, they didn't say nothing in the fucking chat. There's nothing's popped up on the corner. And then I look and I'm like, motherfucker, my chat's been banned for 4 days. God damn it. Or my chat is not banned. My chat's been disabled.
It was banned. All right, let's catch up on chat though real quick. Putty says, personally, I think it should be off by default till they have a quick mute option, but I think they should alert people that chat is off by default.
They don't have a quick mute?
Says in-game rewards for being a good teammate. I do, yes, instead of positive for behavior instead of punishing bad. I'm okay with that as well. I've always been the one I hate the saying one bad apple ruins it for them all. Like I've always hated that, because you can, like, if you see that there's a bad apple, let's get rid of it and save the rest. Let's not just punish everybody else. I've always hated that. And then It's Mike TV says you would need a ping ban at the same time, or are you just going to get a good jobs banned? And then Huddy replies back, click one button on the scoreboard or whatever, and they're muted. No pings, no chat, so on. Like, and I think that's something you definitely need, because you have to. And I also think I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, their pings, you could just sit there and spam ping. Like there is no amount, right? And I think Fault had it to where like you could ping like maybe twice, and then after that it was like, hey, it gave you a
you need to wait.
Yeah, it was like a slow mode, right? For in Discord, right? After you message, all right, now you got to wait so long, and then you can ping again, right? They need to implement something like that. That's got to be implemented anyways, no matter what, right? I don't care if the person's being toxic or not. I think there's sometimes that people just ping too much, right? And there's just like, all right, hey, I get it. I know I'm heading there. Quit pinging. Like
Can you mute those people, or can you just get good job 37,000 times in a match?
Just get good jobs forever.
Oh no, bro! I have
the day that he said their Gruts just good jobbed the entire game.
That feels back. I remember those days in Paragon, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, bro, like come on, like press some other 3 buttons on that controller, please, for the love of God, bro.
But yeah, I do agree. A better ping system, 100 is going to be better. I just think this is for what we have right now. I agree with Huddy. I think for what we have right now, default off is a good situation until we can figure something else out. Because again, we're the minority, not the majority. If we were the majority, I would be on your guys' side and say, hey, we can just work on something, And because again, with Fault, we pushed devs, mods, and even some partners pushed, hey, mute them in chat, mute them in this. I said in the Fault partner panel, open up the scoreboard, mute them, mute, there's people telling people just to mute everybody. As soon as you enter the game, mute everybody, right? And that's what I disagree with. I completely do, because that's doing the default chat off, right? And I disagree with that because again, there are people like us that can help you. Like if you see them being toxic, mute them, right? And then if they're not being toxic, you can continue chatting with them. That's what you need to be eventually. But like people don't do it. They literally don't want to do it. No, that's a problem as well.
People not being willing to mute is the weirdest thing to me. It's like, it's right there. Just use it. Because I personally, I use the you get one chance mentality. The second you're toxic, congrats, you're muted. Like that's
why you haven't talked to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I let them know that I muted them right before I mute them, just to trigger them more.
It's not even toxic to me either. If you're starting to yell at the sparrow and I'm in the jungle, I'll still mute you because chances are that's going to turn on me eventually because I didn't do the thing you wanted me to do.
Well, yeah, you're a jungler. It's always your fault no matter what.
Exactly. So junglers always get blamed
anyway. Yeah, and I agree with you that obviously it's not your fault until I see a Magus video where he shows that he actually, did everything he needed to do there, and you still,
I can't with him.
Like Magus on Richter with Gravity Greaves.
Saved you. No, I gave him all the compliments on that one.
You did. That was good. So yeah, that's my biggest thing was the chat. I saw that was on one of our conversations. It was a message in our last video, and somebody talking about that. And I'm for it. I'm for the default right now until later on when we have other things in line or whatever other barriers in the way to help the toxicity. Like this is a good way to jump right into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Like I again, I mean, the minority that's probably never gonna affect me except in very rare occasions, because usually I do viewer games and usually I got people on voice chat, even though it might be just random people that join. I very, very, very rarely end up using the chat at all. Like even if I got a solo laner that's doing fuck all, doing whatever he wants, I'll just literally sit here and be like, well, I bet he loves his job at Arby's, and then I keep going. like I just ignore the fuck out of him and do my own thing. But
here first, if you're on a team with Windu, you better start flaming the hell out of him in that chat.
I'm too passive aggressive, bro. I really am. Like the moment people start flaming and shit, I just start being very, very like confused, but also like, okay, kid, like you must be great at birthday parties. Like I start saying stupid shit that probably triggers them even more. But I mean, I don't know.
It's always when I'm playing jungle. Since jungle is like the scapegoat, you can blame the jungler because I don't know how to like be in multiple places at once. I'm not fucking Thanos with the space stone. God damn.
Well, clearly you're just not good enough at the jungle then, right? You have to...
You say you should have been Countess. You could have blinked between two.
Against Survivor and won, so...
Man.
But anyways, yeah, just... all it takes is just one person, like maybe it doesn't matter which lane, right? They die twice and immediately blames a jungler and then requests forfeit. And I really hate that.
Well, I mean, I would have died twice if Jelly would have came over and ganked once in a while.
That's what it is. Yeah. 100%.
Like their jungler shows up my lane twice. I died twice. Their Jelly hasn't showed up at all yet. Whose fault is that? Obviously,
what if I'm somewhere else on the map?
What if their dual lane
they're like, our jungler never showed up, man?
What if their dual lane just wiped you both fair and square?
Yeah.
Whose fault is that?
What if you're just bad?
All right,
jungler, they're at our tower.
If your lane is you make too many mistakes, that's.
You obviously haven't seen me play. That doesn't happen.
Yep. Yeah. It doesn't happen.
Jeez. Yeah, go watch my content on YouTube. You'll see that I'm an amazing player.
Oh yeah, Oda.
The reason they don't have ranked is because of me, because you guys would just be crying.
Oh yeah, you'd be number one.
Get me the fuck out.
Shout out to Survivor though. He's a homie.
How do you guys feel about this AMA that they posted on Reddit?
Yes.
I find it interesting that they even did that on Reddit. Like
is it done already? I thought that was like future. I missed it. Damn it. All right.
Yeah, they did end of the year AMA, and then they just basically give a brief description, and we can't wait to see your questions, right? And it's just a bunch of people putting, well thought out questions, couple complaints here and there. But I don't know. I honestly expected some sort of poll or be like, hey, just give us feedback, and then they get the report. You know what I mean? It's interesting to see the Reddit way where people can upvote and etc. It's almost like they're getting the sorting done by Reddit, so then they could just go in there and look at like the top 20 most popular, for example.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I like it.
And they're answering.
It's another way to to connect with the developers. So I'm all about it.
I think it's a good thing overall, right? It gets people asking questions, and it's a designated time frame that you can answer a whole bunch of questions at one time, and it shows communication, it shows some information passing along, and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's beneficial for sure.
Right, and I've already seen 3 people already. I got Alex, I got Sundown, and I got Ace. That I'm showing there's different people answering. And I could probably scroll down even farther and see more. Sushi Fangs, like Cynic. All right. A bunch of these people are answering these questions. So it's nice to see that it's not like you're not get asked these questions. All right, here you go. Now they're all answered by the community manager. It literally is, you're getting answers from the developing team, so yeah, I love seeing this.
That's interesting because some of the
answers are even doubled up. I got Ace answered one question, and then Sundown answered the same question. Like, so it's even like, all right, nice. And here, let me continue on with you get multiple answers with that. So I like it. I really do like this. Now I have to go through and read it because I haven't had a chance. I thought that because
you're gonna be lost for a week, bro.
I'm thinking it was like they're something they're gonna go over later on, but I wasn't ready for it. So my bad.
Honestly,
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ace asked this in a tweet the other day. He said, what is one thing you would add to Pred that would make it more fun and not ranked, not heroes? Like, what would you guys? How would you guys answer that? One thing that would make the game more fun.
We would add to the game that's going to make it more fun.
Yeah,
I know my answer.
What do you guys say?
I would say different jungle camps. Jungle camp variety, not just in quantity, but actual, damaging abilities, visual stuff. Because
I like it.
Like I love jungling, but I never jungle because half the time, like maybe 3 games deep, I'm like, okay, this is literally just rinse and repeat. Like the jungle itself, like ganking is the most fun, but when you're in the jungle, it's the same exact minion slapping me for the past 15 minutes. Like it seems very bare when it comes down to it. If I had different creatures in there, like I think I've seen some other games do some pretty creative things as far as the creatures that attack you, the abilities that you get hit with. League of Legends does a great job at this also. Every single camp is so unique that if you're a Countess jungle, for example, there's a specific path you got to take. Or if you're a Chimera jungle, this is your best optimal path. Right now, it doesn't matter who the fuck you are, you just jungle. and it's just boring.
I wouldn't say it's boring, but I understand what you're saying. And I agree with you. I think that would be a good thing to implement into that situation. Medkit, you just said earlier in the show that the 2 camp on the red side and the 4 camp on the blue side give you more XP, less gold, and the outer camps give you less XP, more gold. That's information that I honestly had no clue, and I've been sitting here juggling the last 2 streams that I've been playing. I did get somebody tell me that I got more XP from the 2-man camp, but again, that's something you don't go to that. You don't look at that like. I look at it and I'm thinking, all right, the 5-man camp and the 4-man camp, that's where I'm gonna get my most XP because I'm killing the most minions. That's the way I read that, right? So until there's you give me your own IP, right? I get this is Predecessor. I get we're a Paragon remake. I get we want to proceed. We're proceeding where Paragon was, or not proceeding. We're before Paragon started. I get that, but give me your own IP. That's what I want. I want some new IP in the jungle. I want something, and this is actually brought up in my last stream. A viewer brought it up, and I think a new IP in the jungle would be huge. Make the jungle more dark. Still be the same theme, but like when you go in there, you want it to feel like a jungle. Like so, give it that feel. Give me jungle creatures in there. I don't care if I'm fighting a freaking tiger. Give me something I'm going to against. It gives me that jungle feel to it.
What if they did? How would you guys feel if they literally just upgraded 1 camp at a time as it was ready, and then they just continue working on it slowly, or should they do a whole jungle revamp for a bigger effect sort of vibe, like a lot of companies like to wait?
I think in EA they should just do it as it is, as they have them ready, because that's what EA is for, right? You don't need to do so many big giant events prior to your full release, especially prior to free to play. Whereas you can just use EA to say like, bam, and especially as a first run, right? Change 1 or 2 of the camps and be like, how do you feel about those camps compared to the normal ones? Right. And then you have information for the next set or to do something else, right? You're not waiting to complete the entirety of the jungle, all those changes just for then the entire community to be like, I hate that. Get rid of that. That was terrible. Right. You can get that information faster and more prevalent information as needed.
Well, that's so true. We see that happen in EA so fucking often. They do such a big change that we're working on this shit for like 3-4 months, and then the whole community's like, what the fuck did you just do? Like, why? And they're like, sorry guys, revert. There goes 3 fucking months.
Right.
So that's a fair point. What about you guys?
TV.
Things that you want to change?
It's Spike TV says, camps that give mini buffs, 1% movement speed or something to make either invading or taking certain camps make your gank route more interesting.
That's cool. I like that.
Individual camps give different things, have different characteristics.
Minor versions of the river buffs, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, Smite would be a good example of that. They have the yellow buff, which is movement speed. They got the blue buff, which is mana regen. They got the red buff, which is extra damage. They got the purple buff. You get me? They have a lot of buffs, not just 2. So you can literally go through and be like, hey, like I'm going to go for the movement speed buff, or I'm going to go for this buff specifically, or I'm going to pad this way, etc. They certainly could expand. Well, I mean, could they really expand too much in the current map that they have without making it feel cluttered? Because right now, all the walls and the paths.
You have a lot of options. I don't think you need to add more camps in the current version.
Yeah, just if you take the 2-man camp, it gives you a 1% movement speed. Just kind of add it to that to whatever camp you have. You just like know this camp gives you movement speed, this camp gives you this camp gives you that, and it just makes sure you're pathing. Hey, at this time I need movement speed, let me go there. At this time I need attack speed, let me go there. Whatever those, and they're just small.
I like the
idea.
Not
ones that just make you huge, or just it's basically taking mini prime.
The mini river buff, like Jelly was saying. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I do think, going off of what Medkit said earlier and what I just said not too long ago, I do think that right now they need to make something noticeable for us newer players. Like I say us new players, because I'm trying to jungle, I'm trying to get better at it. I didn't know that until I just had this episode, that's what those mini camps were. Those mini camps, you need something to let you know this is what going to give you more XP. This is going to give me more gold or less gold or whatever. Like something like that needs to be known to a new jungler. Somebody coming to this game, they play that. They're not knowing that stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know either at first until I started experimenting different pathings in the practice map, and I noticed like, hey, if I do it this way, I reach level 3, but if I do it this way, I don't.
Yeah, that's how I found out. Like ganking and coming back
to make it more obvious and make it more direct is just like Beardo was saying earlier, right? Of when you think I need more stuff and you don't know that that's how that works, you want to go to that 5-man camp because that feels like you're like, get 5 more minions. Yes, I get more XP, I get more gold. Right? So flip that and the 2 camp.
Yeah.
So you have the 5 camp on the inner side. Keep the numbers exactly the same, right? Divide them up to however many minions. Right? But then intuitively, you see 4 and 5 are the inner camps where you know those give me more XP and less gold. And the outer camps are the higher gold, less XP.
You mean 4 and 2 gives more XP?
No, I'm saying
right. But
flip the 5 and the 2. So the 4 and 5 on the inside give you more XP and less gold, and then the 3 and 2 on the outside give you more gold and less XP.
Because blue jungle right now makes sense to me, right? I know if I'm killing a 4-man camp compared to a 3-man camp, I'm going to get more XP out of the 4-man camp. Yes. Right. If I'm in lane and I kill 4 minions, I'm getting more XP than if I killed 3 minions. Right. So if I'm in jungle, it should be the same way. Like I'm getting more XP by killing more minions. And in the red jungle, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't like you go to the. I go to
you don't know that.
Right. And that's not something that just clicks for you, right?
Yep.
Now, you still wouldn't know that you're getting less gold for those camps. That's still something that you're not like. That's something that needs to be somehow. I agree that flip would be the perfect change for the XP. That you just know you're getting more XP that way, but you still don't know the less gold situation. And that's something I think that would be nice to know as well. Just for just so you know what you're getting.
So this might just be an assumption, but it's not common knowledge to be like, hey, like. The smaller the size of the minion is, the less it's worth, and the bigger the size, because that's how I've always seen it. You get me? Like if there's 2 big minions, those 2 big minions are worth more. If I see 5 little minions, depending on size, that's why, or Prime and Raptor, they're so big. Like the bigger the AI or whatever the fuck we want to call them.
The hard part is it also kind of just feels like an aesthetic change. Of instead of just having 5 small minions, we're going to put 1 large one in the middle to make it feel a little bit different. Right. And so I think that it's easy to assume that they're the same, or that if there is a difference, it's very slight because they're the same model of minion. One's just slightly larger. Right. And that's where I think unique models can come into play. Where I know if I take the red minion, just as throwing out examples, if I take the red minion, he gives me more gold than XP, but the little blue minions give me more XP than gold. Right. And then I have a distinctive association to the 2 things that I can relate everywhere else on the map.
Yeah. No, I think you could do that. I think you could actually put a color change on them. Make one a purple minion. No, purple minion is going to give you XP. Make one a gold minion. That's going to give you more gold. Right. That's when you could do that. That'd be perfectly fine. I think, but then going off what Windu said, if you go to that 2-man camp, there's a big one, there's a little one. So what about that 2-man camp is going to tell me that I'm going to get more XP out of that? I got a big one and 3 and 4 little ones in the 5-man camp. Like it's not like the 2-man camp. They're the 2 of the same size minions.
It's not linear.
The one is actually smaller.
Yeah.
So that it's not like I'm getting more XP because I'm getting 2 big minions. I'm getting a big minion and a small one compared to a big one and 4 small ones. So I'm still thinking I'm getting more out of that one.
I think if we flipped the 5 and the 2 camp on the red side of the map and then did a color change on the minions, just temporarily, right? You made the XP minions a darker purple, for instance, and then the gold minions a lighter gold or something, right? You make them color differences as well as now you have the numbers difference and the color difference that then gives you a distinction of this is different for some reason. Right. At least then that to do some investigative work of if I want to know why they're different.
Yeah. What's up with the colors? I got to figure it out.
Exactly.
Right.
Whereas in current form, there's nothing to tell you that there's difference other than the number.
Exactly.
And even then the number is misleading. Like we said, with the 5 and 2 being in weird different places.
Right.
Speaking of which, Mikey, yeah, I agree with what Mikey's saying. I feel like red and blue need HP indicators, or at least like a line of, that way I can kind of like see if my smite will secure it or not.
You need the numbers. The numbers are going to give you that, because that line's, I get what you're saying, and the numbers need to be above that.
I'd rather have
you're
numbers.
using it. You're using your hunt. When you use your hunt, when you first hunt, your first hunt's able to get at 500. Your upgraded hunt's is good at 1,000. You need to know when those. It'd be nice to have it in all the jungle spots, just because you want to be able to use it, right? But like those two mainly, red buff and blue buff, because you get it with Prime and you get it with Raptor. You need it with the other ones. So I definitely agree those numbers need to be put in there.
To go back to what Medkit asked earlier, though, about RDS Ace's tweets, I would say weight and impact would make the game more fun.
Oh,
I think there are a lot of abilities and basics.
But I think the Q times are pretty short. There's not much.
No, exactly. No, he's just me.
He's trolling.
Okay.
Interesting. So you think there's a lot of abilities that feel a little airy, so to speak?
Bearded man.
You got me. There are a lot of buttons. I'm going to put this in the simplest way I possibly can. There are a lot of buttons that are just not fun to press. Right? That when I press my ultimate, I want to feel like I'm pressing an ultimate, right? That I'm bringing down the whatever it is, right? If I'm doing Gideon ult and I'm sucking people in, right? Give me something that makes it feel impactful, that makes me like excited to press the button.
Like a Fei E.
That I press them and it's just like, yep, that's an ability that's going off. Like it, whatever.
Yeah. Or like Decker. Mango likes to describe it, more visceral.
Yeah.
I agree.
Decker, I think, is a prime example of fun buttons to press.
Oh, yeah. Every time you cast an ability, it feels great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her containment fence aside, but her laser and her ultimate, when you press those buttons, you're pressing those buttons. You're sitting there like, yes, to throw that laser down the lane. Yeah, drop that beam down on their heads and give them a stun. Right? Decker so far is probably the character that I think feels the best with those impact, that visceral nature that I want. Right?
She's the best support, in my opinion.
Yeah, she's insane. But that's what I want more of across all the characters. And I feel like it's something that I sorely miss when I play Predecessor.
I agree, F6. Her ult visually is a bit kind of needs more VFX, I think. Mm-hmm. I agree. It's just like a couple lines, a couple circles. It needs more oomph.
It looks like a basic ability, not an ultimate. With the VFX, 100%.
Yeah. Is it all right? Now I'm going to feel bad to ask this question because I don't play him that much, but I think it's this game, and I could be wrong. Is it this game when Rampage does his jump that it leaves an impression on the ground, or is that PTO that he does that in?
Oh, he does that
like when he lands.
When he lands, there's like a
crater, like a mark on the ground.
Yeah, just a decal.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he does that in Pred.
I think something like that with that laser coming down, like having it break the ground a little bit would be cool to see. Obviously you wouldn't want to break the ground because then you'd be like Call of Duty and like, I can't get over this rock. Why can't I get over this rock? Right. But just have that visual.
Oh, I can imagine Mangoose making a Moses splitting the ocean meme.
You could do it like Bellica though. Bellica's seismic assault.
Yeah.
Leaves like little rocks on the ground that show you that where it traveled from.
Yeah,
there's no collision on them, but it shows an impact of an ability in an area.
Yeah, I think that would be good for Decker's ultimate. Would kind of give you that visual effect. Like, okay, sweet, I just did something right there, and kind of have it leave it there while like the fight's going on. You could just still see that it was that happened. Obviously, have it go away after a short brief time, but like that's where the ult happened. I think that'd be cool.
I said not to say ranked or heroes, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So my answer was more crests.
Okay. Like more evolutions for the ones that they have, or just more in general?
More options in the legendary tier 3. More I guess variety, like maybe a 4th crest for ADCs, 2 more for mages, things like that. Like I want more options.
So you're saying inside the marksman crest, you want the ability to upgrade into a 4th option.
You can choose Liberator, Pacifier, and
Pacifist.
Eviscerator. Sure. I'm saying
You're right. It's
it'll be cool.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Anyways, yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm saying it would have been cool if there were like 2 more that does other things. Because I'm of the opinion that we need more actives, but at the same time, still somewhat consider the console crowd.
I'll be real with you.
Talking about?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, I totally get you for sure.
I think
like right now there's only 3. You could choose 3, whichever crest you go with. I'm saying, what if there was
just another option, so to speak? And if you add another option, I want to say there's a total of 7 starting crests, right? Could be wrong.
You see 2 mages, 2
frontline. There's an assassin one.
Supports. 2 mages, 2 supports, 180.
Dude, I love how we're all here. Like,
I don't think. Let me just open the game.
Yeah, open the game. Let us know. I'm pretty sure there's 7 starting ones.
Rules to be able to sit here and tell you. I don't play mid, so I don't know how many mid has. I can't.
There's all. That. Sorry, did I say 2 assassin?
I don't know.
1 assassin.
I'm not going to give you
1
false
assassin.
answers.
There's 1 assassin, 1 fighter, 1 tank, 2 for support,
yeah, like,
1 carry, 2 mage.
Even if it were, so even if it's 6, 7, 8, even by adding 1 evolution per, it spices it up quite a bit. Because I'm pretty sure right now the total amount of like evolved crest options are like in the 28 area if it is 7. But then if you add a whole nother one on there, you really start to spicing things up. And I'll be honest with you, the crest evolutions are fun, but after a while, I really do feel like you're just gonna pick like maybe 4 or 5 that are like, hey, these are the go-to ones. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you're a Chimera without Phoenix, you're ballsy. You feel me? Like, there's 8?
8 crests.
8 crests, okay.
So yeah, I mean, look at that. So even if you go on to having another one, it's going to be 8 more evolutions that they can add, and they can make it specifically to the roles and etc. I'll be real. I'm still in the minority. I really want to be able to have the ability to sell that fucking crest sometimes, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I like, even if they think I'm at a disadvantage, let me have that disadvantage. I want to sell this fucking crest and put another carry item. God damn it. I don't want that blink, or I don't want the extra cleanse or whatever. Let me build more crit. Like, fuck.
Right.
It might just be me though. I don't know if I'm
I think there's definitely potential to be allowed to sell your crest and fill a different item slot in it. And maybe you just make it an act that it's, instead of being the crest slot, it's a active slot. And so you can have other active items, but now you can replace it with your crest, that if you don't want one of the crests that naturally just evolve and you can just get those for free, but you want to go with an active item that maybe is
that you have
really
to buy?
expensive.
like a little bit more advanced building, so to speak. You have to replace
like that
it.
Idea.
But then that gives you the more actives that a lot of people are asking for, right? More actives.
But it's still just a one
slot. But yeah, but you're still able to change it up a little bit more. And yeah, now it's not something you just naturally evolve. And maybe it's your 6th item. That great. My crest naturally evolved. It did real wonders for me throughout most of the game. But now I sell it when I have enough gold to buy my 6th new active, and then just go from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's something like what with PTO, right? You got that starting stone that you get, whatever it is, and then you're able to upgrade that as you go. And then if you get to a point where like you got that fully upgraded, like, well, now that's I want to sell it and get something different. You can do that.
Yep.
You know, it's something completely viable. And I think that would be fine, just because the fact that right now we only have 5 item slots when we're used to like 6 item slots. So that just kind of gives you that 6th one weird. Anyways.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
that's to me, the biggest thing is that every time I get to full build, even though I know I technically have 6 items, including my crest, I still always feel like I'm supposed to be allowed to buy another one. And I only bought 5 full items. And so I'm like, okay, where's my, I can't buy that anymore.
I will say though, I get that feeling, but they do a good job of hiding it.
Accessible. You can find them in the all items tab instead of having to search for tonics. Please, God.
That too. Yes,
They are kind of hidden.
Oh yeah,
I completely
yeah.
forgot they're even in this game. I knew they were in the last stress test, but like they're not like I don't know, for some reason they seemed more accessible then, and now it's almost like they're like hidden. Like you have
a tonic
if you
tab.
It's one of those if you
Oh, yeah, or like a little filter.
Consumable tab.
Yeah,
Tab. I'll
that'd
take
be
that
perfect.
too.
Right.
Yeah.
F6 says, and Windu, you were talking about it, but I think selling the crest kind of gives you that OP limit, though, overpowered. And they would have to readjust the numbers across the board. Windu says he wants that 20% more crit, and then Odo somehow you get that 120. You get 120 already as it is. I do think the numbers, me as an ADC main, I think those numbers need to be adjusted anyways. I think we need more items, and I think the reason we need more items is we need to get rid of you could almost divide some of these cards in half. Like, hey, make this into 2 different items, right?
Just beef it up a little bit and split it in half for sure.
And then let us
if I'm building crit and attack speed, let it be impactful crit and attack speed. I don't necessarily need crit, attack speed, damage, 5% lifesteal, and a passive on one item. It's like, bruh.
Yeah.
And splitting up items would also help with time to kill complaints that are coming out.
Yep.
Because time to kill is so short, having those double passives on items makes it feel even shorter because you're getting so much for your money. Even though
there's big power spikes
feel valuable, it makes the games feel faster because that time to kill goes down significantly with each item purchase. Or if you split that up, especially for ADCs, that time to kill slows down in addition to allowing you to have more items and more meaningful decision making with your items.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm all about one. It's going to pretty much double the amount of items they have if you do that, right? Or if you don't want to split them up, we got to bring some of these numbers down, right? 20% crit on almost every ADC card you have is just a bit much, right? And it's like what I do like, and it's almost like I'm getting away from it, but you would still get it if you cut it in half, right? I like to be able to go in as an ADC, like, all right, this match, I'm going to do lifesteal attack speed. All right, this match, I'm going to do crit attack speed. I'm going to do crit lifesteal. And I'll click on both of those things, and it's going to put up those items, and that's what I'm going to build from. And then all right, I'm going to build all these items. That's what I'm going to go. And I like being able to do that, right? And that's something, again, I'm just using it as an example. That's something in PTO I'm not able to do. Like, I'm not because they only have 2 lifesteal items, or whatever. Like, well, they have 3 of them, and one's for mage, one's for melee, and one's for ADC.
I think Pred has 5 lifesteal items right now, right?
Yeah,
I think max is 5 between ability and physical.
The crest gives a little lifesteal.
Some do.
One crest at least does.
And Kingsbane and Terminus, right?
So
Kingsbane, Terminus, Sky Splitter gives a little bit of lifesteal also.
Yeah, there's a
what's the one that just got nerfed?
Full build lifesteal if I wanted to.
I agree with you, Mutilator.
Thank you.
Mutilator, yeah.
That one has a little bit.
I agree with you though, Bearded Days. By splitting this up, it allows you to open up more meaningful decision making. In that I want to go a lifesteal build this game, and so now I end crit. So great, bam. Whereas the current item set basically lets you do all of the builds at once, which is nice in its own right, but it pulls a lot of the decision and the feeling of like my build is better than theirs out of the items.
Yeah, I will say they did a pretty good job as far as having variety. Like there's a carry mana build. Like just keep on building more mana and you get, like little things like that are spicy, or attack speed with the bows and the lightning and everything. There's a couple of different builds that are actually fun, but I don't disagree that every single carry build out there usually has 3 out of the 5 same fucking items because they're just cracked, bro. Or like having one lifesteal item that's just mega fucking lifesteal.
I think it was like
nuts
that in Paragon as well, though. Most carries built the same card or cards.
Yeah, but meta is different from availability. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Especially in a game that doesn't have a competitive mode, allowing you to go with different builds and be like, you know what? Yeah, this game I'm going a lifesteal build. Is it optimal? Is it meta? Not necessarily, but it's going to be fun because it's a lifesteal build. So why not? Is missing from the game in its current form.
Right.
I think.
Well, it is and it isn't. I think it's still there, but we need more.
It's not. Yeah. It's not as fleshed out as it could be. I guess I should say instead. I think the items
click build.
Yes. Yes.
So
Left click and W.
I want your guys'
A true
opinion on
carry.
something. And
Go ahead.
it may get angry TikToks made about us, but we'll find out.
Oh fuck! He brought out the pen.
Let's go. I'm all about it. Please tag me in the TikToks too.
The component system. I want all of your thoughts on the current state of the component system.
Okay.
Component system?
The item, the little
system.
components you're building into your big item. Your
Like the tree system.
15 short swords that go into your carry items.
I mean, I'm on your side in this, Jelly Knees, so I'm not really too against it. I'm not too negative towards your side of this. I don't know. I agree. We need more, right? All of your tier 2 items are the exact same all the way across the board, right? We need something like, it doesn't make sense that this dagger builds into lifesteal, but it also builds into attack speed, right? Why does that one item build into everything? So yeah, we definitely need to open that up. It needs to be fleshed out a little better. I agree with that.
That just reminds me of like old school League items, to be honest with you. Because for those of you that don't know, in old school League items are like sword, power, bow, attack speed. And you get me? It was just like, all right, so I build the small one, then I build the big sword, and then here's a totally finished item that has nothing to do with this fucking sword down here. But
you build like 8 long swords to get into your big item because
and then the big item is just this random ass object that has nothing to do with a sword. Now could that be just the way that they have it set up because the fact that it's placeholder item art? Maybe they don't want to go so intricate as to all these different tiers because they don't necessarily want to produce the art for it.
For the art packs that they're using out of the Unreal Engine marketplace, they have plenty of other options for component items that they're not using.
Oh, I didn't know that it was an art pack. I thought they literally just went in and they're like, we want those 9.
No, it's an icon pack that they've purchased out of the Unreal Engine store.
Yeah,
and there's also multiple packs from the same exact artist with the same exact art style. So there's even expansion from there as well.
I've seen that art in other games too. It's funny.
Now, could it be that they're doing that to, I don't know, make it relatable to League of Legends? Like make it so that players from other MOBAs come through and they're like, okay, this is something I've been familiar with for years.
But League doesn't do that anymore. League hasn't done that for years.
Not anymore. And ever since their like item revamp like a year and a half.
Smite doesn't have a component system, so that's not prevalent. When you look at PTO's component system makes more sense. I think the biggest thing with Preds is it's a lack of diversity in the items themselves, but it's also a lack of diversity in cost. Right? For other component systems in other games, you look at the cost of items and they range usually between 150 to 350, 400 for your
like smaller tiers, yeah.
Yeah, and it depends what you're getting out of the components, what they're building into, but allows for small, medium, and large incremental increases of even just the component system, not just tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 of items.
Yeah, like
right.
A good example would be like in League, you could literally choose to be like, okay, so I'm going to start with 2 swords as opposed to a starter item and a health pot and etc. Right? Where here it's like, well, got my 1 sword and that's it, or I got my 1 attack speed and that's it.
There's more diversity in the items from the magical side in Predecessor right now, though I still think it needs improvement. But for the physical power side of things, you're basically buying whatever that is, short swords item is for 350 for almost everything. And and the costs are almost all 350 as well. And that feels bad. That's where you run into weird.
I don't think there's many carry items that don't have power though. Right? And I think that's where they might just be taking the shorter route. Because a carry building power is like, oh, well, I'm building something. I'm getting stronger. That's just probably like an easy out, to be real. And then from there, I'm pretty sure every single carry item builds power. Like if you literally filter by power, you're going to be like, oh, well, there go the 13 carry items right fucking there.
But it's not, you can do more with it than that because they also give other stats, right? Like you said, like we said before of, I'm building 5 swords and then suddenly my final stat has attack speed, but none of my 5 sword or my final item gives attack speed, but none of my 5 swords have attack speed, right? Where are the other components? Where are the other things that you can add into this? Where are the items that instead of a sword that only gives power and instead of a bow that only gives attack speed, where's the middle item that gives me a little bit of both? It's not as much as either, but it's a different item that then builds in and A, makes more sense to the item you're building, and B, can have a different gold cost that then makes you feel like you can spend and make, again, meaningful choices in your itemization every time you go back to base. Right now, if you're going back to base and you don't have a multiple of 350 gold, you're going to have gold in your inventory at the end.
Right.
And it's the fact that it's always 350 gold that bothers me the most.
Just because it's a random number.
Disparity. If it was 400 gold for a power sword and 250 gold for your attack speed bow, at least I have a difference in gold that then maybe I can spend my remaining gold on a future items stat that way, but I'm going to lane with a different item, right? Having your items between 300 and 350 means you're always spending the same amount of gold. So you just should always plan on having that amount of gold when you back. And it just is a limiting thing. I don't think it's inherently bad, but I don't think it's reaching the potential that it could at the same time.
Right. I got you.
Oh, maybe if there's like a consumable tab and you can buy wards for like 75 gold or something, and not like stealth wards either. Visible wards. They're control just there. Wards. Like, yep. I don't know. I don't have anything else to buy. Might as well pick up a visible ward. Yes. Why not?
The constant leaving base because you have less than 300 gold is weird.
Right.
Right. If you had something else to spend it on, pots, wards, anything, then it feels a lot better very quickly. And it feels
like at least more variety to spend it on.
More money or time every time you go back to base.
So F6 says, I don't know, but I think they are creating new item arts and items and don't want to add into the soon to be older version. So my rebuttal to that is kind of similar to what Jelly Knee said earlier. They're using the UE item pack right now as it is. So if you're going to add more items, that's just going to, or add more of the component items. If we're just doing re-item art, you can literally it's just plug and play. All right, let me just take this item art out for now for what the Stormbreaker is. All right, now Stormbreaker is now this item art, right? And the item stays the same, right? So if you have already added the new components that we're talking about and already had the UE pack system and put an item art there, a placeholder there, then it's just still plug and play. So it just makes things even easier to transition in that patch. When we're doing new item art patch, here we go. Let's just flip it over.
And it's also, like I said earlier, with the jungle camps of adding them one at a time. Do that change first, where you have the free art instead of paying to make the other art. Get the community's feedback on it. Like that, yes, this component system feels better, or no, it feels worse, or whatever the response is going to be. And then you can make the full change later on with more information behind you and with more feedback behind you. I think also they have said that the item art is not a priority for them at the moment, that their artists are working elsewhere. So I don't think that the item art being generated is the thing holding up in the current instance of the game.
Right. No, I don't think it is either. And I think that's something that it just helps with the game overall. And Rue 301 says, I think item cost less than 350 would make a different starting items, which would be cool. So I think, overall, it's just going to be a better impact.
I think that'll be the best impact. The spicier start. And be like, let me see. Oh, okay. He started with a more attack speed. Okay, I see you. Okay.
Everybody going to the lane with a long sword and a magical tome, whatever it's called. I can't think of the other name.
The book.
Right? Like it creates that diversity at level 1, even by having more items that you can choose or spec into accordingly.
Yeah. I mean, I do that sometimes. There are certain items I will build that I would grab the attack speed instead of this longsword, but it's not often. I most of the time I'm going to take the longsword that gives me the 8 physical power or something like that off of it. But I also think with the items, I don't think it should be one big change. Right. I think if we talked about what the jungle is like, hey, if you have something, like, let's do this change here. I think we should just all right, hey, here's some ADC item art that we've got changed. Here's what we're looking at, right? And that can do two things. One, that's going to help because we saw this in Fault when Fault totally changed their items, and they even changed their names of their items. But when they changed their item art, it was like, whoa, what? Just like, wait, what was the item that I built? Like it was a complete shock, right? So doing it to the whole thing would be like, whoa, let's not shock everything. Let's just like slowly shock as we go through. And, it's, that will be improved, but it's also going to let the community see the item and say, hey, this is awesome, or I'm not a fan. And then you can make those changes that you didn't like, okay, well, sorry, but that's what all of our item art looks like. We're just, you don't like it, like, okay, let's make some tweaks and we'll adjust as we go. I think that'd be the best way to do it.
You know what I miss, bro? And I just totally mentioned this in the chat. I miss item cards, whatever you want to call it, like Godmother Vigilant. Like, hey, you can only build that one item, and you better hope you last long enough for that shit to work, bro. Like, you imagine if they had crests like that, like a cursed crest, and they bring that, like the curse thing back, and be like, hey, this crest will give me a huge benefit early. Let's say like 5 health regen randomly, right? But now I lost my active ability because I chose the cursed crest.
Mm-hmm.
I would be okay with that, bro. You imagine? To be like, oh, bro. You see somebody start something like that, it's like, oh, he's going spicy. Okay, we gotta watch the solo laner.
That was one element of the V42 card system I like. Fury was combustible. Knowledge was consumable.
That's right, combustible. Like, you would lose it if you died.
If you died, yeah.
But it was super powerful. Like items
cursed.
like that are cool. Kind of sucks when you lose it, but the high risk, high reward definitely was awesome. I would love to see shit like that.
Vigilant that you're talking about. I literally have no clue what you're talking about in that situation. But I
so 13
the cursed cards.
Yeah.
I do remember some of the cards you got that were cursed. If you got this, you like this.
You couldn't remove it. You couldn't sell it.
It was you had it the whole time. You couldn't sell it or anything like that. You ate up an item slot. I do like that idea of it. It was kind of like a risk reward system. I'm all about something like that. It just kind of adds a little more flair to the game.
So Godmother Vigilant would kind of be like the growth totem of Paragon back in the day, but it only worked if it was the only item that you had equipped. Mm-hmm. So it was stupid strong, but at the moment you bought something else, the effect got disabled. If it was the only card you equipped, all the health you've been stacking all game, bam. So you'd be a Quang walking around with like 10k health and nothing else. Like you're just like, yo, I hope this 10k health is enough, bro. Let's go. Like it was lit.
Building order and knowledge was cool because you can have Godmother Vigilant or Knight of the Asher, just one card, and then you would use your consumables like Power Tap, and it's a consumable, so you get the power, it goes away, and you still get the benefit of Godmother Vigilant or Knight of the Asher as your only card.
Threats like that were spicy, bro. I miss that, especially if they're them being predecessor, right? Them being like, hey, this is what came before Paragon, like that horror deal. If they're sticking to it, it would be cool if they kind of introduce their own version of those curse cards and be like, this is what they used to be, or this is where the curse started. It used to be only a curse crest, or you get what I'm saying? Like they could start out small, throw some lore in there or whatever. I think it'd be cool.
F6, I completely agree with you. He says, I think the most important thing for items right now is a mana potion or health potion instead of both. I think more consumables in general, be that wards or potions, are going to be healthy and valuable for the game. You can give money to spend on things particular, right? Maybe you start with the both potion, but if you want to upgrade to health only, or you want to upgrade to mana only, or you want to upgrade your ward, something, right? Give a way to spend more money like that, like we were talking about before, but also allow you to build for your hero a little bit more effectively, rather than just being shoehorned into this very general potion that just, yep, you get mana and health. Here you go. Like, it's very strange.
I want a scanning ward that I don't have to walk to it. Is that weird to ask for?
I think that's where a visible ward that reveals the area around you, like a control ward from League of Legends, would be huge.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, when it comes to the potions as well, I do think a mana potion would be nice as well. I do understand the easeability that they have with it. It's already given to you. You already have it. You don't have to buy it. That situation. I understand that, but I do think that there is definitely some skill expression that's being handcuffed by not having that stuff there.
I think something you could do, if you don't want to add purchasable wards, fine. But I would love another ward variation that is a visible ward with increased distance. So increased vision range. So everyone can see it, right? It can get destroyed really easily, but you're gaining an extra couple second or two of vision on its distance.
Like 25% or 30% increase or something like that. Like nothing too crazy, but enough that if you place it in the right spot, it was worth it that they destroyed it.
Yep.
Heard.
Something. I feel like vision is at a very decent starting point, but to be really good and really fulfilling needs help.
Yeah. I agree. What I don't like, speaking of vision, as a jungler, you are pretty much the D-warder, right? You have the ability to change over and put wards on if you want, right? But I hate how you automatically default start with the ward. Like if you click jungle role, I'm automatically I know it's possible because you automatically have it. When I pick jungle, I get the hunt item, right? So you can make it towards default hunt item, default D-ward, right? That's what it should be. Because I forget so often to go in and click on vision, change over to this ward so I can D-ward. And I played the game so long that I'm like, fuck, I need to start D-warding for my team. Like, what am I doing here? Like, and it's just like, ugh.
Even if you don't want to do it automatic, because I know we'll hear complaints, give me a setting in the setting gameplay menu that I can say I want vision as my starter ward, or I want the D-ward, the sentry as my starting. And then it just automatically loads in based on which selection I have there.
Like preset auto buy for us that we've already determined.
Sure, but just a setting, right? Just something that I can. If I mainly play jungle, I mean, I would still love per hero specifics, like for smart casting and all that. But so I would love to see it there.
I think that right there is a huge QOL, like quality of life change right there. Is just allow us, because I was playing with somebody. They're like, what's going on? What's going on? Oh, that's on Instacast. Why is that on Instacast? Oh, it's probably because your last match you put whatever it was for whatever hero you're playing last match was on Instacast. Having that be hero specific is going to be huge. Like Fault had it and it was amazing. So that's just something that definitely needs to get implemented eventually, is because that QOL is crazy. I know so many people who put Gideon's Rock on Instacast, but then they play, let's say Richter's Pull on normal. Like that's something you need to change up.
Bearded.
No.
When you play jungle, do you normally instantly switch to Sentry, or like do you go Sentry and then go into
I don't do anything because I forget to do it until I'm like 20 minutes into the game and I realize I haven't been doing what I need to be doing as a jungler.
Okay.
So, that's now, my point.
So you'll try this, right? When you're jungle, you start off with a ward, right? When you unlock your ability, or maybe you don't right away. It depends on the situation, but if you buy your short sword or whatever, you go in at the 49-second mark, hit your back, and then while you're backing, you can still aim your ward. And then right when the timer is about to leave, drop the ward, you'll return to base immediately. And then you can switch to your sentry. The reason is because you're extending that more time.
Extra couple seconds on the ward.
Extra couple seconds, exactly. And 49 seconds is the sweet spot. That's when you hit B. And you can aim your ward while you're doing the backing animation.
So wait, you could set a ward and it won't interrupt your back?
While you're backing. Yep.
But if I hate the potion, I get fucked?
Yep.
Get me out.
Fuck your potion.
All right, guys. We're definitely getting towards the end of the Predcast here. So let's do our traditional goodbyes in the same order that we introduce ourselves. Give either a message to the community or to the devs, whichever you prefer, and then tell people what you got going on in your life as a creator.
All right. So my message to the community is Windu is bad. If he's in your game, camp his lane. You'll get an easy win right there. And then my message to the devs is I don't know, a lot of the weight and impact. I'm just going to stick to that. Weight and impact. I would love more weight and impact in the game across the board on pretty much every single hero. And then for me, like I said, stream on Twitch and YouTube, and I am on FTM as well every week. Super fun there. And yeah, that's it for me.
I see.
And Windu's bad.
Yeah, I hate him, bro. I hate him. Oh, thank you for being here, Jelly. I appreciate you, homie. Medkit?
Let's see. Message to the community: use your wards wisely. Kalari is not that overpowered. Message to the devs: more crests or theater mode, please. I'm gonna keep saying it. As a content creator, I would love it. And I
love how those are the two options you gave them: more crest or theater mode. Make it happen.
Yeah, and every now and then I stream Pred on YouTube. So if you happen to see me online, just drop by and say hi. I would appreciate it.
Go check out his tier list that he made of the character.
Oh, by the way, best tier list 2022.
Is that self-proclaimed?
No, it's facts.
Confirmed.
It's not debatable.
Not
debatable. All right.
In fact, go check it out.
Imagine a tier list that's
it's
not
3
debatable,
minutes.
like.
It's 3 minutes. It's under 3 minutes. It's not that long. It's short and concise to the point. Just
so
check it out.
Kalari's gonna be S tier because you said she's not that OP, meaning she is OP, just not that OP.
No comment.
Hey, you're gonna have to watch it.
From you, so
you're gonna have to watch it.
All right.
You're gonna have to watch it to find out.
All right. Words to the community. Use your words is the word. I'm not just use your words while you use words wisely. Use your words. Let's just use them. All right. I put them in the lane for all I care. Let's just show me that you know that the button exists. But no, when it comes to the devs, keep up the great work. I hope you had a great holiday weekend, and I'm excited to see what you guys got coming forward. On that note, you guys can see me. I have taken a little holiday hiatus from my YouTube content. We will be posting more content here shortly. I know Jelly's giving me that, disappointed dad shake. It is what it is. But my kids are disappointed that I spent more time with them instead. So I'm happy with that. So check out my YouTube when you can. Give me a sub if you haven't already. Bearded Wolverine, and I also stream the games Tuesdays and Thursdays on my channel on Twitch.
Spicy. And I just want to ask a question to the community, because we talked about it a little bit, but I want to actually hear in the comments whether you guys think that the chat should be turned off by default or should it not. My message to the community itself would be don't be afraid of the chat. You don't like people, mute it, turn it off. Always an option. I know Call of Duty is one of those games that I automatically turn chat off before my Twitch gets banned. And but yeah, I mean, use it as discretion, but don't be afraid to actually turn it on and talk to people and engage and etc. and mute as you need to, right? As far as what I got going on, I, for the first time in a while, literally have not been playing games, just spending time with the family hardcore, a little hiatus like Bearded was saying. It is absolutely not fucking normal. It is weird, but I appreciate all of you that have been supporting through the hiatus. Like, we still got videos lined up on YouTube and everything, so do watch those. And honestly, if you guys could, go watch the little lightsaber giveaway that we did. We basically did our normal regular lightsaber that I do on my channel, but I upgraded it because I found out it was going to like one of my subscribers' kids. So I upgraded it for him. We got him a super cool purple lightsaber, cool design and everything, and he fucking loved it. Just go check that out. Show some love to the kid. But yeah, just don't be afraid to socialize, guys. You gotta make friends somehow. You can't make friends if everybody's fucking muted, right? I mean, you could try, but but yeah, we appreciate everybody stopping by. Thank you so much for tuning into our 7th episode. We do take all feedback that you guys leave in the comments into consideration, so we really do appreciate it, guys. If you guys ever want to watch these episodes live, you can tune into Bearded Wolverine's channel live on Mondays at 7:30 p.m. And then if you want to catch it on YouTube after the fact, you can watch it there on my YouTube, Windu the Mace. But as always, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
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 That was so fucking late.